time for the Miller's Edge with New York Giants legend and South Carolina Hall of Famer Corey Miller and his son, four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller. And knocked down again, it was Christian Miller. Here is college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. Hope you guys are having a great start to your day. Hope you guys are ready to dive back into some UGA Bama talk again, the big one this weekend coming up, man. Alabama traveling to Athens, taking on Georgia. First time traveling to Athens since 2015, which I was a part of that team. Chase, here's a quick quiz for you, though, and I don't expect you to get this answer, though. The last time we traveled to Athens, I wasn't wearing the number 47. I actually had a different number. Do you know what that number was? My old number, my very first number I had here. I was still wearing it. It's kind of confusing because I switched like mid-year. But do you know what that first number was? I'm putting you on the spot. And I don't expect you to get. I don't expect you to get this because I'll be honest with you. I don't even think anybody, if people in the chat, if you guys know this, I'll let you guys even guess at this. I don't even think you guys know this. I don't even know if people even know I had another number.
I don't think people know that, though, Christian. That's a good question to put out there.
Dude, well, here's the thing. When I was wearing it, number one, I definitely probably looked out of place. Two, I didn't do anything in it other than, like I said, I played like the first half of the season and then playing some special teams. So it was nothing like that you would just like stand out and be like, oh, there's Christian, right? Like, I'm trying to think. I had some decent blocks, but it's not like I like blocked a kick or, well, I didn't block one, but I definitely was celebrating when we did. We blocked a punt against Georgia. Mike says 8. No, you know what's funny? I'll give you some details on the number 8 in a second. It wasn't 8. It was a double-digit number. It started with should I give you the first number? Is that too much? Here, I'll give you this. It's between 25 and 40. Just take a guess. You know, like I said, you're not gonna get it right because I don't expect anybody to, unless you really deep dive. Chase, like, I don't want to get this wrong. Chase, like, trying to Google as fast as he can. I can imagine.
I don't know what you're talking about. I can
imagine his hands typing so fast right now. There you go, Superfly. Superfly got it. Not 28. Nope. Superfly got it. It was 34, believe it or not. And funny story. Wait, Mike even said 28. Wonder where you guys got 28 from. You know what? Here's a funny story real quick. I guess we're in the opening segment. I can throw this out there. So when I first got here, right, back before NIL, we could not choose. We did not have the luxury of choosing numbers, right? Well, I'm sure a couple guys probably did, but it wasn't really a common thing. It was more so like, I mean, you got to remember Coach Saban, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick even does it where like rookies wear like hideous numbers that make no sense. Then you have to earn a number, right? Well, here it wasn't really just like, oh, you wore one until you earned it. It was like, hey, you're coming to the University of Alabama. You'll be happy with what we give you, right? And so we kind of got assigned numbers. Rashawn got 32, right, which is a very popular linebacker number. That looked pretty damn good. I got 34, and I'll be honest, I think they gave me some options. If I'm not mistaken, I think they gave me a few options, but like the options they gave me were like, none of them were, I was like, Jesus, man. So I was like, 34. And, 34 is not a bad-looking number. But it's not the most ideal number for like a tall, lanky guy. You know what I mean? Like it just like a running back, it makes sense, right? A tall, lanky outside linebacker, 34 looks a little weird. But anyway, you know what? I embraced it. I just was glad I got a number. I'm like, man, I'm grateful I'm here at the University of Alabama. I'm grateful I even have a number, right? And so I rocked it. I had 34 my redshirt year. And then in 2015, again, back to the whole Georgia thing, I was wearing 34. Because I think that was like it's like third or fourth game of the year. It was early in the year. But the reason I had to switch to 47 was somebody that we were talking about yesterday, co-captain of mine, Damian Harris. He came in 2015. We both were on special teams, right? He was doing some return stuff and punt return duty. So, I mean, we were on special teams on the field at the same time. And so either A, you do what they do now sometimes where, guys will just throw on like the what's it called? I guess like the little temp jersey, right? Just throw it on real quick for a special teams play. I don't even think we were really doing all that crap back then. Plus, I was a little young buck, right? Redshirt freshman, and he was a true freshman. It was like, all right, one of you guys got to change numbers. And so obviously they're going to come to me because Damien was like that year's like prize running back recruit. So they initially asked me first. And I was like, I'll be honest with you, 34 wasn't probably the best fit anyway. So that's cool. Let's see what we can come up with. So let's circle back to the number 8. So in high school, I wore 7, right? People call me CM7, kind of like Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7, but CM7. 7 was taken. Who was wearing 7? Cam was wearing 17, but who was wearing 7 that year? Was Ryan still wearing 7 before he switched to 22? Man, I can't remember. People would switch numbers. But anyway, 7 was taken. I know that. But 8 was available. Technically, Robert Foster, if you guys remember, right? Pennsylvania product. He played wide receiver, was literally like one of the fastest dudes I've ever seen. He had 8, but he was on offense. And so I was like, oh, man, well, he doesn't really play special teams like that. I mean, he does occasionally. So I'm like, man, I might try 8. And so the way it works is, Springer, he's the equipment manager, right? He's been there for years. So I asked Springer because he gave me a list of like 40s this, 47, these other numbers that I was like, man, those are all the same category as 34. I'm like, no, this is my opportunity. I got to make it count. I'm like, 8 is right there. I was like, it's just one number off of my high school number. I'm like, yes. And so I asked him, I was like, what about 8? And he's like, well, coach didn't give me that. That wasn't on the list. And I was like, well, let me just ask him. So he was like, okay. And I'm sure he probably knew, I'm sure you probably knew the deal with this. Because I go up, I meet with Coach Saban. I'm talking about as soon as I sit down, Chase. As soon as I sit down, he just starts going in on like the whole deal about, I'm sick of you guys always want these single digits. It doesn't make any sense. And like he just starts like just going off. And I'm just like, yep, I should have known this was going to happen. So I'm just sitting there just listening. And in my head, I'm already like, well, I'm clearly not getting 8. So while he's going off on me, I'm respectfully like nodding my head, but I'm thinking in my head, what were the other numbers Springer gave me? Because I'm like, I might as well just say, yes, sir, just get up and get my ass out of this office because I'm not getting 8. And so I just remember I saw 47 on there. My brother wore 47 at one point in high school. I know Xavier Dixon, right? He had wore 47. So I'm like, looks better for an edge guy. I feel like it could be a decent fit. And so I first got it, and I was like, man, all right, cool, bet. I'll rock that. And then I remember some people were like, bro, why would you choose 47? Everybody was like, dude, you look at tight end, all this stuff, like trying to get on me. I was like, look, man, at the end of the day, I don't even care anymore, right? And somebody told me best, right? They're like, the number doesn't make the player makes the number. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm actually really glad it worked out like that because, in my opinion, think about all the great players that have wore 8. You know what I mean? So say I did choose 8. I mean, then I'm sharing a number with Julio Jones, Josh Jacobs. The list goes on all these, amazing players. But 47, you get what I'm saying? It's like I was able to kind of make that. Like I know Xavier Dixon had it right before me, but I feel like I did some really good stuff in 47. And to me, when people see 47, it's a lot easier to relate that number with me versus if I was wearing 8. I'm sure some people think 8 on defense, but like Pagan, right? Pagan defensive lineman from North Carolina, he wore 8. As good as Pagan was, it's called a spade. People are going to immediately go Josh Jacobs, Julio Jones. So it worked out. Now, granted, I feel like I passed it along good. Byron Young, great player, doing some really good stuff for Philly right now. He wore 47. James Smith initially wore 47 before switching to 23. But anyway, that's the whole story about me getting to number 47. I know that was a little bit of a long story there, but it is kind of funny. I think it just goes back to show you like how much times have changed. Nowadays, these guys come in, they get any number they want. It's probably negotiated before they even get here. With us, I'm talking about it didn't matter who you were pretty much. You're just getting a number. It was like, all right, we're glad you signed here. Like we were all nice when you were getting recruited. Once you sign up here, pick between these 3 numbers that all are terrible numbers that you don't want and make the most of it. But like I said, man, that's what it was about, man. And again, I embrace it. I love it now. 47, man. It's kind of like my thing now. I like it. Anyway, so that was that story. But yes, 34 is my first number. Me and Damien both on special teams. I ended up switching to 47, and that was that. But yeah, I know you guys were dropping some other people. So yeah, 7. Like that's the thing. It was confusing during the time. Ryan had 7 at one point, which I think at that time Ryan might have had 7. And then I know Ryan switched to 22. I think he's honoring one of his late friends from high school. I know Diggs at one point switched into 7. Tony was also wearing 7. There obviously was special teams conflict there. So yeah, And I'll be honest with you guys. Now that even the NFL has changed it where guys can wear that stuff, and maybe I'm just old school, Chase, but I've always kind of been like an old school minded person, right? I'll be honest, I don't even like that stuff anymore. Like seeing like edge guys wear single digits and stuff. Like in college, it's not terrible, but like in the pros, I even feel like the get off my grass guy because I'm like, bro, like why is everybody wearing a single digit now? You know what I mean? Like it's just I don't know. I'm seeing linebackers wear 20 in the NFL. Like it all just looks weird. Maybe I'm gonna get off my grass guy. I don't know. Oh, welcome in, Tia. Good to see you. I guess you're back from your soap opera break, or what are you watching nowadays? Reality TV. Tia completely flipped the script, guys. She was like football 24/7, like watching all 22 tape, and then disappeared into the Love Island scene, and then I've not even seen her talk about football.
Crazy,
man. Switched up. That being said, let's hit this first time out. We come back. It is a Talking Tuesday. Obviously, why I just talked y'all's ear off with that story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Just a little story there. But yeah, when we come back, we're gonna dive into this Alabama UGA talk. It is a Talking Tuesday, meaning we want to talk with you guys. 205-342-9904. We are going to open up the phone lines earlier. I do want to hit these coordinator interviews that we missed yesterday. We heard from head coach Kalen DeBoer, but we did not hear from Kane Womack, and we did not hear from Ryan Grubb. So we're going to talk about keys and stuff. Why not go to the coaches and hear their ideas on this matchup first? Then we'll discuss it right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Quick timeout. We'll be right back.
At Tuscaloosa Mazda, they are expanding their.
You're just a girl, Tia. I know you playing around now because you've been football expert 101 for what 2-3 years now with us. Dang, what was it, man? Was it week 1? What happened to you, Tia? Mel Blunt wore 47. Oh yeah, and I'm sure there definitely were some guys back in the day that wore. I was saying like in recent years, I never really had anybody that I thought of immediately when I saw 47. So I'm like, shoot, other than X, right? He wore it before me, but so I'll make the most of it. Woodrow Lowe. Tia, let me pull up your app message. I'll give you special treatment just because you've been with us so long, even though you dip out for months to go chase Love Island or whatever you're watching. Watching the SEC teams last week. On our bye week, further solidified that we must be more physical in the trenches on both sides. Womack's got to stay away from 3-man front schemes and bad schemes. Well, I'll say this. Yes, I agree with you on the being more physical. I mean, just watching the Auburn Oklahoma game, 2 opponents that are coming up on our schedule down the road. I mean, you see that how important the physicality and dominating the line of scrimmage is, right? I mean, Oklahoma just, their D-line was great in that game. But only thing I'll say is, just like I remind everybody, with the 3-man front stuff, just to remember, guys, it's all situational, right? Like, you only are going to see that in certain situations, right? So just like Georgia, like if you guys go back to the tweet I made, Georgia operates out of a 3-man front too at times. It all just depends on what you're seeing, right? So it is what it is. I mean, it's not, again, that's not so much the issue, right? It's really more of an execution thing. I mean, and he matches personnel actually, right? So you've seen a lot of 3-4 looks. Go back and watch Florida State. When they were in 12 personnel, we were in a 3-4, which actually is a 3-man front. You just have two outside backers. So you have 5 guys up there pretty much. Or the 4th could be playing off, right? Tearing the front. But yeah, I promise you, man, I wouldn't worry too much about that piece of it, man. Guys just have to go out there and be physical and dominate line of scrimmage. 3-man front, 4-man front, doesn't matter what they call. I would be more, I guess, concerned about stuff like the mugging of the backers, right? Just for a number of reasons, right? we've seen Georgia, they'll work like the quick slant game behind you. You're mugged up, that puts your backs at a vulnerable spot. Perimeter plays, to me, it's much harder for a back to try to play sideline to side, linebacker to be playing sideline to sideline, flowing with those perimeter plays from a mugged position, because he's going from mugged to backing out and then trying to redirect, right? And play sideline to sideline. To me, I wish we would probably just kind of get rid of that stuff. 3-man front stuff, I mean, that everybody does that nowadays. Really what people are doing out of 3-man front stuff is called mint front, right? So it's a 4-eye, a 0, and a 4-eye. And it's actually a good way to you actually can stop the run pretty good with mint fronts because of the alignment, the guys in the defensive line, as long as, and it depends on what you got behind them, right? But you can run a mint front with nickel, so it'd be like 4-eye, 0, 4-eye, then that jack, right? Sometimes if there's a tight end there, he'll be in a 9 technique, or he'll walk, he'll be in that apex, and your backers are there. Then obviously, depending on the coverage, I mean, you'll have safeties coming down for support, but you actually, believe it or not, 3-man front, like mint front stuff, you actually can stop the run pretty well if it's executed correctly. So there actually is the reason. So what I'm getting at is the reason people play a lot of 3-man mint front like that is because it allows you to have the flexibility of that 3-man front stuff where you can have more guys playing off the ball. But with the alignment of the defensive line being a 4-eye, 0, 4-eye, it helps kind of maintain that line of scrimmage, even though you're a little bit lighter up front, if that makes sense. Is the mugging of the linebackers done by the position coach of DC? DC is going to be like the one installing all that. The position guy, he's just teaching it, right? But they all discuss that. But that would be on Kane. Yes, sir. Dwight, if you guys haven't, man, always hit that like button. It helps us out, keeps everything rolling, right? All that good stuff. Was that James? Yeah. And James, I'm not saying you're wrong in this. I'm just telling you my opinion on it. Just because I know sometimes when you hear people always talk about, oh, it's the scheme and that, like, sometimes scheme can be at play, but a lot of times, man, I mean, if you watch, I'm telling you, like, literally the personnel groupings that we use is no different than what, like, Georgia hardly goes there 3-4, just like us. Like, we'll go to it if it's we're just matching personnel. If you're in 12 personnel, you'll see Georgia in the 3-4. But most of the time, they're playing teams that are in blue, which is 11 personnel, 1 back, 1 tight end. They're in nickel like all the time, whether it's a 3-man front with mint, 4-man front. You got to be multiple, right? And that's what college football is nowadays. And welcome back into the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. Make sure you guys check them out if you are in any type of pain, whether it's foot pain, knee pain, back pain. You guys know the drill, man. Go on over to your local Good Feet store here in Tuscaloosa, right there in Midtown Village. Go just check it out, literally, man. It's free. Try before you buy, nothing to lose. And I'm telling you, man, you'll be really impressed with how these things like provide you with that relief, man. You feel more balanced, like removing all that pain. And they're game changers, especially for me, always on my feet, man. So make sure you guys check them out, goodfeet.com. You can find more information on their website, right? They've got videos, all that stuff. Plus, you can find the nearest location to you. They are nationwide. And you can also schedule an appointment if you're a little crunched on time. But again, walk-ins are welcome. They encourage walk-ins. But you can always schedule an appointment with the Good Feet Store. Again, that is the Good Feet Store. Improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. All right, so we're going to get to these press conferences. I'm not going to lie. I taught a little bit in that first segment, so I'll wait till we'll go to break here in a few minutes, hit a short one, come back to the press conference. So I'll answer some questions because we got some good conversations rolling regarding this Alabama-Georgia matchup. Again, it is a Talking Tuesday, so we'll do plenty of talking and hopefully with you guys. I know Tia said she left an @ message. Even though Tia likes to dip out and go watch her Love Island for months at a time, you know what, man? Tia's been riding with us for the long haul, Chase. She's been a rider since day one. So let's show Tia some love. Let's see what she says. She's got an app message right here. Again, download that Tide 100.9 app where you can leave your app messages where we also still read those. Don't get us twisted. We still obviously read a lot from our YouTube chat, but we've got the Tide 100.9 app that we work with as well. So Tia says, I made a statement that Mike Bobo and UGA pretty much got Kane Womack defensive nachos, aka they figured us out in the second half. Apparently, this is a hot take to users on Twitter. People are saying they only threw Hail Marys, etc. But my question is, do you think Kane Womack changes anything from last year's game, or does he come out with the same scheme he did from last year? That's a good question. I'll say this. Every year is going to be different, right? So even though you're playing the same team, they have a lot of, familiar pieces, coaches, players, all that good stuff. You always have to go into it and understand it's a new team, new group, even if there are a lot of familiar faces. So you always, you definitely want to look back at that, right? So when you prep, you're looking at what they've done this year, because that's the most recent. If it is this team that you played last year and there is a lot of familiarity there, like this, the coaching staff, all that being very similar or the same, you definitely go back and watch how that played out, right? However, I think it'll be a combination of stuff. I mean, I'm sure we'll do a lot of what we did last year that worked, but you got to think this year they've got a new quarterback, skill set slightly different, right? A little bit more of a runner than Beck was. So you got to go into this matchup with that on your mind. If you're Kane Womack, how are we going to defend that and be prepared for that? They've got new skill guys on the outside, right? Last year, their receivers weren't really all that, in my opinion. Their running game was very poor last year. So you take all that into this game this year and you apply that. But I would say this to you, knowing Kane Womack and seeing some of the things that they're doing a little bit different this year, he has made some changes. Now, I still understand people are talking about like in-game adjustments. I'm talking more so like schematically of some of the things that we're doing. I feel like he is doing some things a little bit different than he did last year. And hopefully we continue to see some adaptability and some changes, not just in this game, but throughout the course of the year, because I think that's important. As you play people, you'll see different stuff. They'll throw different stuff at you. And you always have to adjust and adapt, right, in the game of football, right? Because really, from their perspective, it's like chess, right? I mean, you're going against a coordinator. He's trying to scheme you up. You're trying to defend, and you're trying to scheme him up. So I don't know why that's really too much of a – what was the hot take part? The hot take was you were saying that they had us figured out in the second half. Well, here's the deal. I mean, teams adjust just like we always did. If you go back and watch – when I was playing, like sometimes we would start slow and then we would adjust the second half and come out and, figure it out. So I think that's natural. You're playing a really good football team with really good coaches. I mean, it's expected that they're going to go make changes. They're not just going to sit there and let you just keep your foot on the pedal the whole game. I mean, we're talking about a program and a coaching staff that is responsible for 2 national championships in the last 4 or 5 years. So, I think you just also got to understand, you got to give credit where credit's due, right? They've got good players. They got good coaches. They went, they adjusted. And the way they played in the second half is probably what they would have wanted to do in the first half. I think we just kind of blitzed them, not actually blitzed them, but I mean, like we just kind of really jumped on their neck in that first half and they had to settle down and figure it out. It's no different than, look, Tennessee. They go on the road. They played Knoxville. I mean, one could make it seem like, oh, we figured them out, Georgia figured them out in the second half, but I think it's really just they adjusted. They understood, all right, this is what they're doing. This is what, they're having success with. These are some things that we're going to do different. I mean, just to give you guys an example, like for us, like if that happened with, with Coach Saban, we would throw out our rules sometimes and completely change stuff. So like we might have gone into the game and said, and again, I'm not going to do it way too long with this because I mean, this literally like it could be a small change to a big change. It could be, all right, this whole week of game prep, we've been saying when they get into 2x2, we're going to run this coverage. And then we might literally said, all right, scratch that because they're doing something a little bit different. They added a nuance and it's taking advantage of what we're doing. We might say, scratch that. We're not playing that. We're playing a whole different coverage now the second half. Like Coach Saban and Coach Smart and Pruitt, that's what they would do. Like we would, or it could be a small change like, all right, well, the star, instead of playing this, you'll play this. And it could be a little change, it could be a big change, but you have to adjust and adapt. And I think that's what they do a good job of at Georgia, both defensively and honestly offensively probably as well, even though offensive adjustments probably might be a little bit different. Defense, I mean, you're like defending and reacting. I mean, you always can adjust on both sides, but I feel like, at least for me, and maybe I'm just biased, I feel like defensive adjustments are a little more, I don't know, Because offense, I mean, you have play designs. I don't think you – I could be wrong. Maybe we'll ask an offensive guy, but, like, do you actually go change a whole big thing? I mean, I don't think you'd change a whole blocking scheme in the middle of the game. That'd be kind of – I don't know, but you maybe identify stuff different. I don't know, but good question there. Let's see if we got one more to hit on real quick before we hit this break. Jam and Tim will be back. Jam and Tim back will be big, even if their reps are limited. My concern goes back to the staff/team on the road. Got to prove you can take a punch and fight back for 60. 1,000%. And I do think those additions will be bad. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but Tim being in the middle, obviously, the battle, the line of scrimmage, right, being physical up front is going to be huge in this game. Having your veteran nose tackle and leader in Tim Smith will be big. I hope he's as healthy as can be, right? The good news is that position doesn't require as much running and planting and cutting. So that would be better for a guy versus if it was like a running back or receiver dealing with the high ankle sprain, doing all that cutting and stuff. I'd be a little, like, I guess, patient on how much they're going to really be able to be themselves. But that'll be good. And hopefully Jam, again, I know up front, the offensive line needs to really make the biggest spark to get our running game going. But hopefully his presence can maybe add a little bit of something, right? And I think him and Kevin Riley should do a good job in this game as well. And then to your last point, 1,000%, right? That's the biggest question. How do we show up? We showed up the last 2 weeks at home. We've responded well at home against inferior competition, right? Two bad football teams. We never really got punched in the mouth the last 2 weeks. So how does that show back up when we travel on the road and we play a team just as good, if not potentially a little bit better? Who knows? We'll find out in their home stadium, and knowing that they've won 30-something straight games at home. That doesn't happen by chance, right? It's going to be a tough environment. We've had their number. They're going to want their lick back, right? So they're definitely going to be ready to hit us in the mouth. But it's about how we respond and how we show up to play. So that'll be huge. All right, let's hit this timeout, get back on schedule. When we come back, we'll jump over to some of these press conferences from yesterday just to recap what the coordinators had to say. I know both Ryan Grubb and Kane Womack had some interesting stuff, so we need to listen to that, talk about it, keep discussing what you guys are talking about, because it is a Talking Tuesday. 205-342-9904 is the number. Make sure you guys fill us in. Let us know your thoughts. What do you think Alabama needs to do in this matchup? What are you looking forward to most? What matchups might you be looking for? We'll discuss all that and more on the other side right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Gene Poole.
And this is John Poole.
At Hudson Poole Fine Jewelers, being locally owned means more than just business.
It means cherishing the relationships we've built and the trust you place in us.
We consider it a privilege to be a part of your life.
All right, let's see. And expecting to have Roman Harper on the show this week talking this matchup too, so make sure you guys stay ready for that. I know we hadn't had too many guests on in a minute. Been trying to work through stuff, a lot of stuff falling through, unfortunately, but be ready for that. I know everybody's asking where my dad is at. I'll be honest with you, I have no idea. I've not talked to him like a week. I suppose he's probably busy with the church stuff, but I don't know, man. South Carolina's been struggling, man. Maybe he's hiding his face a little bit. I mean, I know he listens still, but maybe he'll hear you guys talking and y'all spawn him on here. I don't know. We could ask Slade about offensive adjustments. Oh, shoot, it is Tuesday. Slade segments. Let me see if Slade's still good. I know we didn't have a game to break down, but excuse me. Yeah, we should still be good with Slade. Yeah, we definitely ask that. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely adjustments on the offensive side. I don't know. I'm just curious. I just don't imagine it being like with them calling design plays. Like, I'm sure they could maybe adjust things like, hey, man, like I know for a fact they do this. Like they might adjust routes, for example. Like, hey, man, they're playing things real deep, man. We're going to break this off at this point instead of this point. Maybe, stuff like that. Maybe. Let's see what else. I know we got a lot of comments. What we miss. Gunner runs more, but Carson had the ability to. Yeah, I mean, like he could scramble and run. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I feel like Gunner's definitely a little bit better of a runner. But you're right, he ran a little bit. I just felt UGA figured us out last year in the second half. We got to be 3 moves ahead. Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely think they adjusted. I mean, but if you're talking about from the defensive side of the thing, the defense side of the ball, they definitely adjusted and played much better. But I mean, you got to expect that. I mean, you're talking about Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann. I mean, those guys are. There's a reason they've won as much as they've won over there. They're good coaches. But you're right. I mean, they're going to go into this game and they're going to have a game plan and they'll be ready to adjust. I mean, and they proved that time and time again, most recently against Tennessee. I mean, look, Tennessee, literally the first 3 drives were like, what's it called? Like flawless, right? I mean, the first 3 drives literally were I think touchdowns, I believe. They went up like 21-7.
With 95.3 The Fair and Sports Radio tied one.
I was so confused when I cut the radio stream back on. Somebody screaming. I was like, we good? Georgia has a massive O-line, average 320, 340. TK will be back to help. Yeah, that right tackle struggles too, man. I hope we take advantage of that. And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's arch support experts. All right, I got an idea. I know we're going to get to the coordinators, but since we are still a little bit playing, I guess, kind of playing a little catch up with our breaks, we got Ellis on the phone lines. Let's go ahead and give Ellis a few minutes to hop on here. That way he's not hanging on too long. And then when we come back from this one, we'll jump immediately into Kane Womack. Ellis, welcome in, man. How's everything been?
What's up there, Christian?
Oh, man, nothing much. I can't complain. Another day, another dollar.
Well, I can't complain either. We finally got some rain today.
Yeah? How's that?
I love it. We needed it bad.
Yeah. It was sunny here, man. We got some really nice weather today. I don't know what the temp is. A little warm, but it's really nice here, though.
I just had to, where I'm walking, I had to take my shoes off and walk through the water so I wouldn't get my shoes wet.
I love that we got so many people that listen to the show while they're on like nature walks, man. I love it, man. That's really healthy, man.
Yeah,
good for you guys.
You got to take care of your body, especially as old as I am.
That's true.
Well, so I just turned 61 last Tuesday. So
I wouldn't have never guessed that. Ellis, you look about 40.
No, thank you.
No, I'm serious. I didn't know you. That's great, man.
Yeah, 61. But
are you going to be on the road traveling to Athens? Is that far?
I wish I was.
Is that far from you? How far is Athens from Tennessee?
No, it's not that far at all. I went to the last SEC championship game that Nick Saban won, and I drove over and went to that, and it's not that far at all. So
really,
yep.
I figured it was probably.
And I got to see him beat Georgia, so that's what we need to do again this weekend.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I got this pulled up on the stream right here, man. I keep saying how we've had Georgia's number, man. In the last 10 meetings, we've beat them 9 out of 10 times. Their only victory coming in the national championship game back in 2021 where they beat us by 15. Granted, we had a number of guys out, right? Remember, the receiver corps took a big hit, numerous injuries there. Not to make an excuse, but I do believe that was a big factor in that game. But you just look at it, man, literally the past 10 meetings. So hopefully we can continue that trend. But obviously, if you look at it from the other perspective, I mean, those guys are going to have plenty of motivation. I mean, if you pull up this chart for a team that's been so dominant the last 3 or 4 years in college football, man, one thing is for certain, man, we've been literally like their kryptonite.
Yes, and it ain't just been Saban. We beat them after Saban left. So it's Alabama. It's that Alabama thing.
Yeah, it is, man. What are you looking forward to in this game? What do you feel like Alabama needs to do to get this victory here Saturday?
stop the run.
Fair. That's
Stop them from running the ball because they can run. Well, they can run the ball pretty good. So
yeah, they're better this year.
Run.
They definitely are a little bit better this year. I know last year they struggled, and that was very uncharacteristic of them. But yeah, no, they've been running it better, and I think that definitely would be a big key. But I will say though, I mean, I've been pretty impressed with Gunnar Stockton throwing the football. To me, I didn't know he was as good of a thrower as he is right now, but he's a good player, man, tough guy, and he's shown up big in these big games, man. So I think containing him will be important too because he does have that ability. I think he's like the third leading rusher right now.
Yeah. And we need to make a point to beat LSU this year because we won't be playing them every year anymore. But
how'd you feel about that? Did you who would you prefer? Would you prefer LSU or Mississippi State? I know we talked a lot about it yesterday, but I know we got a few more people in here today. I'm curious. Is everybody good with that? The Mississippi State being the third annual team, or were y'all leaning LSU?
It's all right, but LSU. I know Mississippi State. We've been playing them for a long time, but it's like everybody's been saying, the locker room, the ones that's actually playing the game, I've always heard that it's LSU is their top pick to beat every year. So
yeah, well, I'll be honest with you, I always viewed, like when I was playing here, I always viewed LSU as like that third rivalry for us. I mean, Tennessee, Auburn, number one, but then Tennessee, obviously, those two have always been big rivalries. But I always viewed, to me personally, LSU felt like a rivalry. So
yeah.
But like I said, I look, at the end of the day, I really could care less. I mean, football is football. I mean, I'll miss playing LSU every year, but at the end of the day, it's one team. We'll still play them at least 2 of those years. And we haven't played Mississippi State, so that'd be nice to kind of see that come back, I guess. And hopefully they'll be a better football team once we kind of get back into that series, because right now they're looking pretty decent compared to what they've been the last couple of years. So hopefully they continue that track. Because I get people saying, like, from a competitive standpoint, I mean, if you have 3 annual opponents that are literally like really good games or really good teams, like obviously that kind of gives you a disadvantage to some of these other teams that might not have such difficult opponents. But to me, I just like good competition. I like good football games. I like that better. But Ellis, we got to hit this break right here, brother. I'll let you get back to what you're doing, man. Be safe on your walk, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir. And we do need to, and I'll be down there early for the Vanderbilt game. I know it's Georgia, but I plan on getting down there early for that game.
Well, sounds good. We'll definitely have to get together, man. It's been a while. Ellis, you take care, brother.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide. Good deal. All right, quick timeout. We come back. We'll hear from Kane Womack from yesterday's press conference right here. Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Christian, what's up, man? Roll Tide. Being from T-Town, LSU, always a big rivalry game. Yeah, look, man, people kind of got on me because they thought I was picking on the what is it called? Like a term about discriminating against older folks. I clearly wasn't. It's just a joke. But I was saying personally, I just felt like younger generation probably is going to lean more LSU and older lean more Mississippi State. But yeah, I just know, like, from a player perspective, like LSU week, we always treat it like a big rivalry game. Like, to me, it felt like it had the same significance as like a Tennessee/Auburn, maybe just not with the same history, but in terms of the intensity that week, yeah, in my opinion, it always felt like that. Remember that 9-6 game we lost and then smacked them 21-0 in the championship? You talking about LSU, right? Alabama's won 88 out of 108 games versus Mississippi State. Damn. We played Mississippi State more than any other team ever, even Auburn. Yeah, no, I mean, I get the history, like, dating back. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's definitely plenty of history there. But personally, I just feel like in recent years, like, not regarding like outside of the history of, I just feel like LSU, like the match between Alabama and LSU, like especially when it was like CBS, like think about that, guys, like Death Valley, CBS night game, Alabama LSU, like not trying to be funny, but what would you rather watch, right? That nighttime Death Valley, Alabama LSU. I know it's ABC now or whatever, but or Alabama, Mississippi State, 2:30 kick. That's why I lean LSU. But again, at the end of the day, man, football is football. I'll take it. Seems like Tennessee has some big body receivers in the Georgia secondary last week. Do you think Alabama's going to use Isaiah Horton more in this game? It's a good question, Superfly. I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think it's going to be a matter of really like them necessarily looking at his size and say we're trying to implement him more, unless it's like a situational thing, like maybe like a red zone deal or whatever the case may be. I think the way they design plays here, honestly, man, I mean, when you have talent like that, it's really just, I mean, you got Bernard, who's arguably the most complete receiver. Not arguably, he is the most complete receiver on this team right now. Probably going to be one of the top receivers taken in the draft. You got Ryan Williams with his electric ability, right? Then you got a big body guy like Horton. I think it's just really just a matter of just letting those guys just go play and make plays. You know what I mean? But like, do I think they'll try to put more of an emphasis on Horton just because he's a bigger guy? I'll be honest with you, not really. I think really you just lean into Jeremy Bernard because of how consistent he is right now. His ability to get open, create separation, his hands, right? I mean, catching the football. I think first and foremost, man, you lean into that, or Ryan Williams' explosive ability, like taking the top off the defense, his ability after the catch. Personally, I will lean all into that, and then again, situationally, if you see a matchup you like, if you realize, hey man, this guy is struggling with big body guys, kind of like what you were mentioning. I mean, yeah, you could definitely test it, but I would probably lean into the first couple first. But I guess it really just depends how everything's going too. But that's a good point.
The Edge on Tide 100.9.
I'd rather watch Bama LSU in prime time any day. Yeah, personally, that's me. But and welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's go in here. Kane Womack talk a little bit. This was him at the podium yesterday, previewing the Alabama-Georgia matchup this weekend.
We'll have Coach begin with an opening statement.
And there we go.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Before I get going on our plan for Georgia and answer your questions, I do want to just take a minute and offer my condolences to one of my good friends, Sean Clark, and his family, Janelle, and their two kids, Braxton and Gianna. Just to hear of his passing, the last couple of weeks we've gotten updates, and just a sad moment. And you think about a person that I would want my sons to be coached by. I can't think of anybody in this profession that better than Sean Clark. He's a fantastic human being, great energy, loyal, thoughtful, and certainly I was glad to be able to call him my friend. So, the profession is tough sometimes when you lose people in any profession, but certainly you move on and you continue to work and do the things that you need to do. And so, for this week, looking at Georgia, we're certainly excited about this opponent. Have tremendous respect for Coach Smart and Coach Bobo and the way they operate offensively. I think they've done a really good job with their quarterback and Gunnar Stockton. I think he's operating very efficiently right now. I think what they're doing with him and the grit and toughness that they have shown, great football team that will be a tremendous challenge. They've shown some grit and toughness on the road as they showed in last week in Knoxville. And that's something that, we've got to become more consistent as a football team of how we handle adversity on the road and can't think of a better place than being able to test and prove that than Athens, Georgia, this upcoming Saturday. So, looking forward to the game, and there's a lot of work to be done between now and then, and certainly our players have done a great job in the bye week in preparing ourselves to kind of get a jump on the week. So we're in a good place. Looking forward to the work in the week ahead.
Thank you, Coach. Let's start on the far left, Chase.
Could you speak to the challenge that Georgia's offense presents with its running game? And to that point, how do you feel about the way your defense is executing run fits right now?
Yeah, I think we are taking strides. Every team is working to get better, and those are the things that I've told our guys. Everybody has issues right now, but everybody's got to work to get themselves better. And the good teams are the ones that just better themselves week by week. I think our run fits are improving as we go. I don't think we're where we want to be, and certainly I think there's some things that we've put on tape that we're going to have to answer for as we go down the season. Things that I would imagine Georgia and other teams in the SEC are going to try to expose. And so we want to make sure that we have a plan for those things. But I think our guys have been very locked in. The work that we've done thus far, we've had a good off season or bye week, off week of practice. And I think you think about this team, this is a tough, gritty. Their backs run hard. They're physical. And so it's ultimately going to be about, bringing a grown man to the ground, right? And the physicality that it takes to do that over and over. Because I think Coach Bobo does a really good job of just staying committed to the run game as it goes on. And those are like body blows in a boxing match, right? You got to be able to match pound for pound for as many times as they want to run the ball.
Let's go to the opposite side, Nick on the front right.
Yeah, follow up on that question about defending the running game. Gunnar Stockton, I think, leads them in rushing touchdowns so far this season. What do you see from him in the ground, what he can do, and how you guys need to defend him?
I think they do a really good job with Gunnar in the run game. It's just enough to keep you honest. You see the run game at the right time, certainly third downs and red zone, and those are things that will always be the case for offenses. But he's a physical kid. He's tough. He's gritty. He's willing to get the yards in the read game. He makes the right decisions the vast majority of the time. And so, he has certainly brought an element to their run game that, maybe they didn't have as much with Carson a year ago. And I think that's something that, that certainly we're going to have to account for.
Stay on the front row, right in the middle, Tony.
What have you seen from the progression of your pass rush? How do you think that's coming along?
I think we're taking steps in the right direction. I think we'll know a lot more as we move into SEC play, and we'll know a lot more about our ability to pass rush, after Saturday. So going up against a good team and a good offensive line, big, physical, and certainly they've got great athletes. And so I think pass rush is, you look at it through different facets, just as a four-man rush, how you're blitzing, how you're simulating pressure. But certainly I think just when you look at our defensive line and outside linebackers that are rushing off the edge, I think we're taking steps in the right direction. But I'm excited to see the progression on Saturday.
Let's go to Kennington on the back right.
Georgia's screen game has been a pretty prominent part of their offense through the first few weeks. How would you assess how your defense has, shedded blocks and tackled in open space, and how do you emphasize those points in the season?
Yeah, I think they've done a fantastic job in their perimeter screen game. You look at the screens, you look at the actual double screens and slip screens and tunnel screens and all those things, and then just the perimeter now screens that they're getting out there. They're blocking on the perimeter at a very high level. You can tell their wide receiver room takes pride in it. They do a good job of taking good angles and breaking tackles. I think that's certainly going to be an element to the game that we have to defend. For us, we have been a pretty consistent space tackling team. That's certainly something that's going to have to show up on Saturday because they're going to test you. They're going to stretch you laterally the width of the field and make you defend, all 53 yards there laterally. So for us, that'll be a good challenge.
Standing up all the way in the back left.
hesitant and timid were ways that you described the week 1 performance. How do you avoid that happening again on the road against another elite opponent?
Yeah, I think it's on the forefront of all of our minds. I think, we've talked about it and made an emphasis, and yet at the same time, right, you got to take the next steps forward. But I think locking your jaw on the road, having a mentality of adversity is coming, and how you're going to be responsive and not reactionary to adversity is a major aspect to overcoming adversity on the road. And I think that's something that we have to show that we can do a better job of as a football team. I think it's something that we have stressed to our players. Our players have taken great ownership of it. Our coaches have taken great ownership. We've got to make sure when adversity comes that as a sideline and as a football team, we're ready to go, not just mentally, but physically respond, emotionally respond in that moment. And something that, I'm looking for the opportunity to respond to adversity. I think us as a coaching staff, us as a defense, that's something that we're, kind of looking forward to the opportunity to showing.
Staying on the left side, we'll go to Katie, second row.
What is the possibility of getting Tim Keenan back, even if it's in limited reps, just bringing for this defense from an on-field perspective and his leadership?
Yeah, Tim will be back for the game. He's done a great job. Has been practicing, the last couple of days here and has looked pretty good. And so, credit to him and Jeff Allen and our staff for getting him, ready to go. So excited certainly to have him back. Just the physicality that he brings, the experience, the block recognition, the ability to get off of blocks, and certainly what he does for us, not only in the run game, but I thought he has taken some strides in pass rush as well from an interior pass rusher. And so excited to have him back this week.
We got 2 more questions. Let's go to Colin, front left.
Kind of back to the whole road game adversity thing. Has there been any change in conversation, change in approach in terms of, road atmosphere, how you guys talk about road games? Like, what does that look like between you and the rest of the coaching staff?
Yeah, conversations that we have. I think Coach DeBoer has a very good pulse for our football team right now. I think we've made some adjustments to give ourselves the best chance to be able to play responsive football on the road in adverse situations. And so, for us as a football team, it's a mindfulness. I think our players, they're great young men, they're great kids. They get whatever we emphasize, we tend to get from our players. And so, we have made that a huge point of emphasis. I think you've seen that at home in the energy and juice that we've brought from our sideline, the passion that our guys have played with the last 2 games. But there's a difference when you have to go on the road, particularly in the SEC and in a hostile environment, and respond to adversity. I thought at times we have been a team, that has been reactionary to adversity, and we've got to be more responsive. It's at the forefront of our minds, and I expect to see a very responsive football team on Saturday.
Finish up with Emily Grace right on the front row.
Hey, Coach, what elements of this defense do you feel like you were able to fine-tune with this extra prep time, and how do you expect that to translate on Saturday?
Well, the first thing is you look at like some self-scout things. What have we put on tape? What are we going to have to answer for as the season goes on? What are we doing well? What do we need to continue to show and do more of? So those are different elements, personnel matchups, all those types of things. But I think for us, keeping the main thing, I think, getting our cleats in the ground, identifying where the ball declares, and then playing a swarm D football mentality. And I think that's something that our players have kind of leaned into. We have done a good job of really the last year and a half here of playing with great offensive recognition that did not show up really any way near the standard in the first game. And so getting back to playing that style of recognize where the ball's, going to be, where the ball declares, and then going and finishing and playing. I think that's something that we've got to make sure continues as we get into SEC play.
All right. That was defensive coordinator Kane Womack speaking to the media yesterday. We got to hit this top of the hour break. When we come back, we'll discuss what he said, so make sure you guys have that ready. Let me know what you guys took away from that, and I'll definitely give you my thoughts on the other side of this break right here on the Miller's Edge Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. We'll be right back.
It's time to win some cash on WTBC.
All right. Let's see. Q06, what's up? Dang, Mike Gundy got fired. Dang. In my opinion, the best way to control a running quarterback is to blitz up the middle and set the edge, take away escape routes. Yeah, I mean, you definitely can be aggressive like that for sure, but you just have to consider if they do implement RPO, right? You're going to be vulnerable behind with those quick slants, which Georgia has shown to do. So, love what you're hearing and seeing. ¿Cómo te va? ¿Me va bien? ¿Todo bien? Gracias por preguntarme. Let's see. Georgia secondary has given up a lot of 20-plus yard plays the first 3 games. Yeah, and I think there'll be some opportunities downfield for sure. But it's just important that we're setting ourselves up for those opportunities. I mean, you probably, take some shots, hit some shots, but you'll have much more success of really doing it consistently if you can set everything up, starting with the running game, having good protection up front. But I 100% agree with you. I do believe that our passing game has a chance to be a difference maker in this game, but we've got to do all the other little things right first. Let's see. Simone. You learning Mexican Spanish? Simone. What do you know about Simone? Que yo no way. It's Mexican Spanish. Let's see. Matter of fact, Q06, I might have a new partner on board with the show, man. It's a Spanish app, like to learn Spanish. And I use it a lot. I love it. I think it'd be real helpful too, man. So definitely stay tuned for that, bro. Have you heard anything regarding right tackle, right guard? No, I think they're still just. I mean, the biggest thing is just trying to get their 5 in there. But personally, no, I hadn't heard anything. I mean, I probably plan. I couldn't go to practice this morning. I wasn't able to, but probably going to try to tomorrow. But if I had to guess, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't even really know, bro. I don't really know. I think the biggest thing is, man, just try to get that 5 established as soon as possible. That way you got your guys, you're rolling with them. But the good news is, hell, their right tackle is struggling a lot too. It ain't just us that's having some problems. Yeah, we'll have to see. I think the biggest thing, just like Kane was talking about, that pass rush, that will be big in this game. Trying to get after the quarterback. Gunnar Stockton, man, he's really efficient. I think he was like 74%. 2 passing touchdowns, a running touchdown. His body language bothers me. One person says they love his body language. Others says it bothers them. ¿Qué necesitas? La aplicación de que estaba hablando. The app or something out.
Playoff national champion.
Called Parrot. You can download it on the App Store.
100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday. This is the Miller's Edge, time 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We just heard from Alabama defensive coordinator Kane Womack, who spoke to the media during his press conference yesterday. A lot of good stuff. Definitely a lot of questions about his defense, traveling on the road, responding to adversity, what needs to be done. in this matchup. And let's go ahead and discuss a little bit. Chase, I'll give the floor to you, man, to kick it off if you want, man. Anything that stood out to you with Kane Womack in his press conference from yesterday? Anything that he said that really caught your attention?
Yeah, I think really having attention to detail this year, especially with Georgia and how much they regrouped from last year's team. Kane understands that he's under a microscope right now, and everybody's looking at that defense to respond because it was like a popcorn event last year, going back and forth. You saw in the second half. They don't need that. They don't have, I would say, the firepower on offense. They don't really have that this year because of, defensive schemes that Mike Bobo might put out there. Or I don't know if that's a defensive coach. If it is, I apologize.
No,
okay.
Good.
I appreciate you, Christian. But I don't know. I'm very curious how Kane is going to scheme things up. I'm a fan of his, but after what happened last year and really kind of they've picked it up a little bit since Florida State, but they haven't played anybody. Georgia is a real SEC team. Kirby Smart is looking to avenge what's been his looming ghost for the past couple years that, Alabama had his number. Yeah. And the one thing he wants to avenge is take down their defense. And honestly, Kane, if you're listening, you got to wake up because it doesn't get any easier after Georgia. You got Vandy coming up. You got LSU coming up. You got Oklahoma, who beat Auburn. You got, Auburn at the end of the year. There's so many teams that can really shred your defense if you're not prepared. And all I hear this week is prepare, attention to detail, being intentional, not being timid. This is the game to prove that. Why not? Especially in Athens, Georgia. I think they're wearing all black, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the game to put a statement out there. Because if you do not put a statement out there and show why they hired you for that reason, to be the Alabama of old, when you played and so many other great Alabama football players played, I'm scared he might not be there much longer because you've got to beat the teams that reign supreme or you're just going to be a regular Alabama defense. And I don't want that for the Crimson Tide, especially with Georgia coming up.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a big test. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Just focus on the defense right now after hearing from Kane Womack. You're right. Attention to detail is huge. One thing that stood out to me was him talking about just getting back to that mentality of, remember what I talked about, guys? This is how defense works, man. React and attack. Remember, I gave that whole speech right after week 1. That's how you play defense because the offense has that advantage. They know what they're running, right? We know the call that we're operating out of. We know what we're trying to execute. But at the end of the day, as a defender, you are reacting to what they're doing, right? And so that was evident. Week 1, we were slow, we were timid. Guys weren't really diagnosing things quick. And then even when they finally did, we didn't see the effort. I mean, and again, that was the most glaring issue I've ever seen out of a defense here at Alabama. And since then, the good news is last 2 weeks, like he said, it's been better. And I like that he's emphasized they're making strides, right? He definitely does not feel like they're perfect or they've arrived because, again, they still have a lot of work to do. They have their work cut out for, like you just mentioned, after Georgia, you got a very confident Vanderbilt team that will be coming to town, right? I mean, you've got a whole SEC slate that you got to take care of. But that being said, I like that he was emphasizing getting back to that, right? Basic fundamentals when it comes down to it, reacting, attacking, and as he calls it, swarming to the football, right? There needs to be 11 hats flying to the football every single snap, playing with high intensity and high effort and physicality. He mentioned, Mike Bobo, like they're going to be consistently trying to get to their running game, right? And then obviously, like we've been hearing, and I mentioned yesterday, man, their screen game. They run a lot of screen game, and they get to it a number of different ways. I know you guys were asking about Branch, who's a guy who's very dynamic. He's their leading receiver right now. It's going to be important. How do you stop that stuff? Well, you got to have pursuit to the football, and you got to have good run support on the perimeter, right? That starts with the corners, right? You got to aggressively attack those receivers. You got to take it to those guys. That way, you have a guy that the contain guy, he's setting the edge, right? And he's allowing everybody, he's allowing it before it's going to force the football to the teeth of the defense, allow everybody in pursuit to come help clean up, right? Those types of things are going to be important in this game, right? Because what could be, sometimes screens can be negative plays, right? It's easy if you blow it up, right? You can force a negative play versus if you don't have good pursuit to the football, if you have corners that are timid, they're soft catching blocks, they're not, forcing it back inside, they can go for a big play offensively, especially with a guy like Branch who's very dynamic. So this Georgia offense, again, very, very balanced. They do a number of things. They've got the quarterback run dynamic that they can throw in there. A lot of screen game. They definitely want to throw the football, but they also have a quarterback that can get the football down the field. So it's going to be very important. It's going to be crucial that our defense can show up and do all the things correctly that you need to do. Establish that line of scrimmage, playing with good pursuit, being physical, right? Not arm tackling. It's just a lot of these things that have come up in the past, you just don't want them to come back up in a game like this, because those are things that will get you beat, right? Not pursuing the football, right? Not playing physical, arm tackling like we saw. All the things that showed up, week one, you can't have that in a game like this. They've got good players just like we have good players, and you're already behind the 8 ball going to their place, playing in a tough environment. It will be important. But he also addressed that, right? Their ability to respond. That's going to be critical, man. If you get down in the game, right, you're playing from behind, they make some plays. How do you respond when you get punched in the mouth? We'll have to see. But he said this, Chase, it kind of stood out. He said he felt that Coach DeBoer has a really good, grasp of this team, and that typically what they ask the guys, they get back out of it. So, it sounds like guys have been responding the right way thus far. They've been having a good week and some change of preparation. So hopefully we see that translate, but it's just going to be important, man. And then the last thing I'll hit on, they asked him about the pass rush. Definitely want to see that come to life. Again, Georgia does have a big physical offensive line who's a pretty good unit. Right tackle is going to be their vulnerability. I would love to see us find a way to exploit that and capitalize on it, right? Because Tennessee, granted, they have a good defensive line, but Tennessee was very active and they were able to force pressure and affect the quarterback. I need us to do that. I need us to build off of what we did 2 weeks ago before the bye week, and be able to affect the quarterback in a game like this. Again, Gunnar Stockton, he's got that dual threat ability. So not only are you going to affect him in the passing game, but even if he does try to scramble, you got to be able to contain him, get him to the ground. Another issue that we've had, not being able to finish in the backfield. So big test for our defense, but I'm looking forward to it because I think it'll tell us a lot about where we're at moving forward. Speaking of moving forward, let's hit this timeout so we can go ahead and move forward. We got Ryan Grubb we need to listen to. We'll sneak over to the phone lines. We got a couple of callers, let you guys respond, and we'll get back to some press conferences and more UGA Bama discussion, talk some more keys and all that good stuff. We come back right here on the Miller's Edge, Time 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We'll be right back. Dang, y'all don't think he's a good fit? I definitely think it's different than what we're kind of used to. I'll be honest with you. I get where you guys are going with that. But I do think he does some stuff well. But fit definitely is a little bit interesting of a fit, I would say. Just because of the way it is compared to what we've always seen, it's a little bit more just keen in on kind of not as much. When I say not as much structure, I'm just saying it's a little more like, let guys read and react and play versus like we're coming from like very disciplined, like a disciplined style of defense with Coach Saban, where it's, we still are reacting and making plays, but it's hard to like articulate. I don't know how the best way to really put it. I feel like the way they play is way more loose, gives the players a little bit more freedom, I guess, versus really having like specific rules and things within the defense that really are like designed to kind of take away so many different things. I feel like Coach Romans is more so just like relying on letting our guys just kind of go make plays. And I think, to me, that actually kind of what a lot of people thought would be, that's what we needed. We got good players, just let them do that. But I think now you guys are starting to see what I was mentioning initially, where when you don't have as much structure or depth to your defense, it actually has a lot more cons than you would realize, versus when people were trying to say what we used to do was too complicated. It still had so many things built in, so many answers built in, right? While yes, that also could have some disadvantages, like guys having some more busts because it was like a little complicated, a little too much to think about at times. It still had an answer for everything versus, all right, now it's a lot lighter. Guys have less responsibility, but now you're like giving them a lot more freedom, and then it leads to negative plays as well, right? Because they're not as prepared as, say, if they were operating what we were doing. I know it's kind of confusing, but it's hard to kind of explain exactly what I'm trying to say. Question, Christian, is this a big concern that Bama doesn't have a true starter at right guard, or is that not that big of a deal? To me, I do think it is a bit of a concern, but at that spot, it's more so because of injuries, right? I mean, Jaden Roberts, if he wasn't banged up, I think it probably would have been a little more clear that he was your right guard, and then maybe work Vandermark in there a little bit, in the first couple games just for experience purposes. If there's injuries down the road, that type of deal. The bigger issue, Christian, would be right tackle for me, given that that's not like an injury thing. The reason there's not a true starter at that position is because inconsistent play. That's more of an issue for me. So I would say right tackle is definitely more of an issue. Plus, right tackle, I mean, that guy's a little bit more, unless he has a tight end over there or back to his side to help him out, he's a little bit more exposed versus right guard. I mean, you typically have the center helping you out. You're a little bit more covered up in situations. So I would say right tackle. Truba, that has left his to overrun play. Truba, that has left to, wait, hold on. Truba, that has left his to overrun play and not stay at home when they're just loosey-goosey. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm reading that exactly right, Joey. Are you talking about Kane Womack's system? And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of Miller's Edge, Time 100.9, 1230 WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Art Sport Experts. All right, let's go back to the phone lines, 205-342-9904. We got Ram up first. Ram, welcome in.
Hey, Christian. Good.
Hey, Ram.
Good talking to you today.
Good to hear from you, man. How's everything?
Everything's good. Everything's good. Going on a duck hunt this Thursday in Louisiana. Know you'd like to do that too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. That sounds fun, man. Good luck with that.
Well, thank you. Christian, on your first week, on bye week, what is the emphasis on in that first week?
You just mean, you're saying like in general, like for a bye week, what do you normally emphasize?
Yeah, on the first week, do you start concentrating on your next opponent right then, or do you just get back to fine-tuning fundamentals and watching film?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, it's a good question. So you always, just like Kane had mentioned, you're going to self-assess. You're going to go back and kind of look at what you've done up to that point in the season, kind of see things that you've done well, things that you need to improve on. And then you're obviously going to try to implement everything, even the things you've done well. You want to continue working on that, but you'll know kind of what direction to go for practice moving forward in that week. So to answer your question, the first couple of days of the bye week is a little bit more for us. We used to go back to like camp style practices, meaning like they were definitely more physical, a lot more team periods. And it was really like fundamental focused, right? Like we were really focused like on ourselves as players, our systems, right? Really, operating what we do. However, we would have like a period or two still where we would, put some install in for the opponent coming up. We just wouldn't have, it would be more of like a focus on us style practice and sprinkle in some stuff as we work towards that opponent. Then by like the end of the bye week, we would get back to kind of focusing a good bit on that opponent. And then when we would come back the following week, we'd get back to a regular game-like schedule that we typically do. So the first couple are definitely more focused on yourself, fundamentals, things you want to clean up, things you want to get better at and improve on.
Okay. Well, that was a great assessment and answer, Christian, as usual. But the other question I've got, and I'm not going to try to be too long-winded, but you said it, and you've said it several times about us getting popped in the mouth and how we respond. To me, that's going to be, the key to how our defense has come along. If it's matured any and getting more confidence.
I agree. No, I agree 100%. And I think that's the key for this football team. You know, you've got good players, right? You know, we know when we play good football and we execute well, I mean, we can play with anybody. But it's that one piece,
Right.
Ram, that you're describing about that mentality, right? Of when things don't go well and when you end up in tough moments. You've got to figure that out because the reality of playing in the SEC is that's a consistent thing. We learned that last year. Whether it's Vanderbilt, a struggling
Right.
Oklahoma team, right? It doesn't matter who it is. Like when you play good competition, I mean, you can lose on any given day, especially in this conference. And like Coach DeBoer even said when we listened to him yesterday, these big matchups, they typically come down. There's going to be close games, and it comes down to, late in the game when that one team has that possession. Can your offense go down and move the football down the field and give your team a chance to take the lead? Can your defense hold strong and get off the field, force a turnover, right? Secure, like those big moments matter. And when you've shown to be vulnerable and have gotten exposed in those moments, that is an issue, especially when it's a consistent thing. So I think you're 100% right, Ram. We've got to find a way, as the coaching staff, they have to find a way to be better in those moments. And I think that would provide a lot of answers and really a big boost for this football team in terms of the confidence moving forward, because we're going to have more moments. Like it's not just this Georgia game, it's really the rest of the season. Our schedule doesn't get any easier. So we got to be prepared for it.
When Christian, when you were playing, and when Coach Saban's teams defenses always seem to be able to weather a storm in just about all cases, and that the word confidence, you're right, that's it, confidence.
Mm-hmm. It is, and I think it comes from a number of things. Number one, I think it even goes back to the offseason. Like for us, we had so much confidence in ourselves and our ability, not just because all of us were very talented football players. Obviously, we had some really good recruiting classes, but really the work that we put in the offseason, like it all starts there. You instill that confidence because the whole message for our offseason program was like, nobody's going to work as hard as us. And we're working so hard. And it was called the fourth quarter program for that reason. So when we had moments in the season, right, where things got tough and you had to really dig deep, we could always lean back on our training and say, man, like we've been through this, right? In the off season, we've worked and prepared for this moment. Like no one works as hard as us. So that way, when we got in those moments, we were already properly prepared and trained. And so I think you start there, but also it also comes from your preparation leading into these things. It's no different than if you have a test to take, right? Or if you have a presentation that you have to give, right? If you go into that and you didn't study, you didn't prepare correctly, you're going to be stressed, you're going to be anxious, and you're probably not going to do as well versus if you studied and you prepared yourself, you know what to expect, you give yourself the best chance, right? It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, but you feel a lot more confident going into it. I think that's another thing. These guys have to understand that we're playing a good football team. They're going to make plays. We're expecting to make plays, but we've got to keep digging deep and we've got to finish and understand that our coaches, we got to trust in our coaches too. They're doing what they need to do to put us in position. Like for us, we never had that problem because it's like we knew we had the best coach in all of college football, arguably of all time. If he tells us what to do, he's giving us a game plan. We're trusting that game plan. There's no concern there, right? So all those things are factored in there.
That's a Christian. That's why I call you, buddy. You know your stuff.
I appreciate it, man. I just try to give you some answers, man. I'm sure I probably say some stuff you guys don't agree, but no, I appreciate that, Rand. Thank you, man. You got anything else before we hit this break?
No, just keep those dogs in the fence.
David, trust me, man. They haven't, knock on wood, they hadn't gotten out in a minute, so I think we're good to go. Rand, we appreciate you, man. You take care.
Okay, Christian, you too, and Trace too.
Oh, thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Good deal. All right, that was our buddy Ram. We're going to hit a quick early timeout. When we come back, we got Pat, and then we'll keep on rolling on this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, tied 100.9, 1230 WTBC. And hey, real quick, don't forget about our friends over at R&R Cigars. If you guys are in the market for the best cigars, the best humidor in the Southeast, Check them out today, 2703 Gary Fitz Street. Their website, rnrcigars.com. Code Miller's Edge gets you a big discount. They always got a lot of deals, free shipping as well. If you need a good gift, man, great place to check them out. Again, I know you guys probably have a lot of people you know, like my dad, big cigar smokers, I should say. Check them out, rnrcigars.com. R&R Cigars, 2703 Gary Fitz Street here in Tuscaloosa. And if you need a place to watch games, football, basketball, you name it, they are the place to do it. They've got over 160 bourbon that you can try as well, right? So why not check them out again? R&R Cigars, the official cigar provider of Alabama football since 2014. Quick timeout. We'll be right back. Dr. Crystal, I agree 1,000% what you said. You're spot on. You're 100% right. It really is only one of those two things. And if I'm just being completely transparent, I think part of it, I think it could be a little bit of both. You know what I mean? I generally think it is a little bit of both at times, but I feel like he's gotten a little bit better with some of that. I think it still needs to be even better, but I just know how high my standard is because I've watched my coaches literally, grab a whiteboard. Come up with just adjustments just like that, and then seeing that actually make it. Again, we were just very fortunate. That's why I mentioned that part about having trust and faith in your coaches, man. There's never a doubt. If Coach Saban, Coach Smart, Pruitt, whoever are telling us to play this or do this technique, whatever, man. Don't get me wrong. There's times I'm like, man, bro, why am I in a 6 technique, man? I want to get on the outside and right. But again, there's always a rhyme and reason for it, and I always just trusted in it, man. You think some of our players like Potter are just too big? Absolutely. Sitting at 360 when they really should be about 330. Doesn't seem like NFL has guys that big, but I could be totally wrong. No, man. I agree. I've said before, brother, that I know that Potter's definitely a bigger guy naturally. He's just kind of a dense dude, you know what I mean? Just how they say like Samoans, right? Naturally got big boned people, right? And he's not Polynesian to my understanding, but I'm just using an example. But I would say, literally, and I always bring this example up. In the NFL, the average tackle is probably 320, right? They've got to be able to move their feet. You definitely want to be strong at the point of attack. You got to be able to hold up as a tackle. You'll get bull rushes. But you got to be able to move, and especially if you're a bigger guy, and that's been your problem. What's crazy is for a bigger guy too, though, he can move, but he stops his feet. His biggest problem is he stops his feet and he opens the gate. If you go watch, he stops his feet, opens the gate, and he just turns and instead of I know I played against big dudes, and if they were going to get beat off the edge, they would at least take that size and then try to make me pay. They would at least try to bang on the back of my pads, literally like a punch down the back of my pads, trying to literally knock me down. If they all right, if you want to try to get down and play low where I don't want to play, I know I can't operate that low. They're at least going to try to throw me by or knock me down, try to literally put my face in the dirt. I just don't really see them doing any of that stuff. But again, the biggest thing is you got to keep moving your feet. You can't stop your feet and just try to just push somebody. And to me, that Wade would help his footwork and his ability to play on the edge like that and move. But really, I think from a technique standpoint, he cleaned some stuff up from a technical standpoint. I think that alone would help out. But I do definitely believe that he would benefit from dropping some weight. Because naturally he might not be a 320 guy, but even if he goes from, I think at one point he was 370 or something. Even if you go to 340, I think that would be huge. Dr. Crystal said, I think he's 90%. He doesn't know how. Wayne. Yeah. I definitely think a big piece is kind of just not really having the answers, right? I'm with you. But that's why it's important. I mean, you got to be able to have the people around you too to work with. I mean, it's never going to be a one man. I mean, Kirby had to learn it from someone, right? I mean, working with Coach Saban, right? Obviously, he learned a bunch. So you got to think. I mean, Kane Womack takes his job here. The head coach is an offensive guy, so he's kind of like the guy on defense. So it's important. He's got to have the people around him to be able to bounce stuff off of. Seems like there are players all over the field and not enough assignments. Yeah, that's where it comes in, where I'll just say, like, for us, like, we just had so many rules and things within our defense that while it might have felt a little restricting at times, like, as a player, you just knew, like, man, look, there's a rhyme and reason for it. I might not like it or love it.
This is Miller's Edge on Tide 100.9.
And welcome back into this Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Support Experts. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. It's Talking Tuesday. Keep talking with you guys. 205-342-9904. We got Pat up next. Pat, welcome in.
Hey, good morning, afternoon, Christian. I
What's up, Pat?
wanted to give you the good and the bad. I wanted to talk about the good and the bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
You there? Okay. All right, the good. I wanted to give you Jet Thamalas. Wanted to talk about what he's doing so far this year. Through 4 games, he has 20 touchdowns at a 77% completion rate, quarterback rating of 152. Against 1 interception. And he's increased his yards per catch to 18.1 average. He only got to play a half Friday night. He had 291 yards receiving in the first half, and the coach took him out in order to play the backup. These 6 touchdowns. Just absolutely phenomenal numbers. Now I want to talk about, that was a good. I want to talk about the bad. This morning I lost my breakfast after I talked to Martin Houston. I was trying to give Caden Proctor an attaboy, and all it was negativity about Caden. That our left side of the line has no chance against the Georgia defense. I mean, I physically lost my breakfast. I will not eat before I listen to the Martin Houston show ever again, talking about an offensive line. Oh my God, hey, if that's but you're an accomplished defensive end, and you obviously would have beat Caden Proctor on every down. Is that not correct?
I don't know, man. Not every time, no, man. Nobody's perfect. He's a big dude. Trust me. I mean, listen, I
understand. I understand. I'm making a joke. I don't.
I know. No, I know.
And I'm thinking that this Georgia defensive line, being that they're bigger, they may be quick, and some people they're giving them all these accolades that they're so much faster and bigger. But we've been playing against smaller, quick defensive ends, and just because you're not fast for 40 yards don't mean you're not quick for 10 yards. And we've been playing against some pretty quick guys, and we surely were quick. They were quick against in the first game, and that I'm just hoping that he's going to look more like an SEC number 1 offensive tackle in this ball game than what he's looked in the past. Are you in high hopes, or are you preaching doom and gloom too?
Well, I don't ever anticipate or try to push doom and gloom. I know maybe some people take it like that. I just think, if someone's being an analyst, I think you call it how you see it, and if play at a position or a certain group has been bad, and and that's what you're seeing. And then you need to say that. I know a lot of people want only to hear positive stuff, but that's not accurate, nor is it credible. That being said, I wouldn't say I'm preaching any doom and gloom this game. I'll say this. I think if somebody asked this earlier, like confidence level, I mean, I think this is kind of a toss-up, and rightfully so, right? I mean, if I knew, and I've been seeing a consistent performance by Alabama, especially on the road, it'd be much easier for me to say. But again, going back to week 1, I was one of the few people that was sitting here saying, especially on this station, number one for a fact, but even just in general, that I had concerns traveling to Florida State week 1, given how we had shown up in the past, given that we've struggled with, dual threat quarterbacks and Gus Malzahn. I had people calling and saying, "Oh, nobody's scared of Malzahn." I'm like, no, it's not scared, or it's not doom and gloom. Those are football facts because I played the game. That being said, looking at this game, you're talking about the offensive line. Look, our offensive line has been inconsistent. That's just a fact. And I will say Georgia's front hasn't been as dominant as they've been in recent years. Hell, even their offensive line has shown some vulnerability, especially on their right side, right? I mean, I think right now just no one's perfect. But I will say, going into this matchup, I do know one thing that does cause me concerns is with our offensive line being inconsistent is that I know Georgia, Kirby, and Glenn Schumann, they like to dial up pressure. They're aggressive, and they get to it a number of different ways. They'll bring different groups, right? They'll bring backers consistently. They'll run stunts, right? They'll bring DBs, cat pressures. I mean, they run a bunch of different stuff defensively. It's going to be imperative that our offensive line can play sound football, pick up those blitzes, and execute what we're trying to do, especially given that we've been very successful throwing the football. And I think Georgia's secondary is one of those vulnerabilities. But in order to be able to do that, you need those guys up front to execute. So I will say, I mean, I do have concerns with our offensive line in this game going against a good front, knowing that Florida State, their front had a lot of success against us outside of that first drive, and it impacted the game. Now, I know Wisconsin's front was decent. They're pretty good. Granted, I thought they got they played a decent game. We still were able to have success offensively. So that at least makes me feel a little bit better about Georgia. So we'll see, right? We'll definitely see. But I would not say doom and gloom, but I do think that is important. Our offensive line play has to be really sound in this football game.
Martin Houston that up. But hey, and he's right. Hey,
wait, but you said he said left side? Wait, he said left side on Potter's side or right side?
Yeah.
I'm more concerned. I know. Well, that confuses me, to be honest with you, because granted, both sides haven't been particularly perfect by any means.
Hey, both sides have bad issues.
Well, I was going to say I'm more concerned about the right side because you have Wilkin Formby, who has struggled. Week 1, he did not play a great game, especially the pass pro. I mean, there's guys consistently getting back there, and then the guy behind him, who actually has been playing okay, but also shown some freshman mistakes, is a true freshman. So I would say I'd be a little bit more, I guess, concerned about the right side versus the left side. I mean, Proctor hadn't been perfect, but at least he's a 3-year starter, and I mean, I feel more confident in him than the right side.
Yeah, is Roberts going to be healthy for this game?
Yeah, he should be healthy. I think just getting him back up to speed. I mean, he missed some time, right? And I think those reps are important. So he's been back. One game now, but at least he's had a week, or we'll have 2 weeks of practice going into this game. And I think those reps will be crucial because you got to get back up to speed, man. Not having those reps is tough for any player. So, but yeah, he should be healthy and ready to go.
All right. Well, I just want to be able to keep if we can keep Ty upright for 3.5 to 4 seconds, that Ty's going to cut them to pieces. That's why I got confidence.
Yeah, no, I think I'm with you, man. I think Ty could have a big game in this game, just like Tennessee's quarterback had success. But we need the big guys to help out, man. So he needs to take them to Baumhauer's or hell, whatever restaurant they want, and convince them, hey, man, I need y'all's A game this week, brother. Keep me clean, and we'll have some success.
Gotcha. Hey, you have a blessed afternoon, and tell Papa I said hello.
Yes, sir, we'll do.
I was hoping he was going to be with you because I knew he was going to preach some doom and gloom for us.
wait, you talking about my dad?
You did it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, what's today? Tuesday. We'll see. I mean, he should be on here at least one of these days this weekend. I'm curious what he thinks about this matchup. But yeah, we'll hear it. But
yeah,
Well, you know how he
All
is.
right.
We'll see. See you, Pat. Thank you,
Yep.
brother.
All right. Have a good one. I'm looking forward to him. Bye.
Yes, sir. We'll see you. Good deal. Yeah, that's interesting, Chase. Did you hear the show this morning?
Yeah, they were. It's so funny Pat brought that up, but yeah, they kind of talked about it this morning, just kind of the issues and the concerns about the offensive line, and they kind of jarred back and forth. But
Who was it? Because Julene says Pat Steiner needs to chill out, especially on
Julene.
wait, with Martin. Wait, forgive me if I'm who's Pat and Steiner? Is that a guest?
Oh, I don't know if she's referring to somebody else, but I think she might be referring to Pat, who was just on the phone lines.
Oh,
Those-
fair. Oh, my
yeah.
bad. Okay, fair enough. I got you. Sorry. There's a lot being thrown at me. I was a little confused, man. But so Martin had concerns with the left side. Was
I
it just
believe so,
left side, or
yes.
just everything, or?
Well, really, he was talking about the offensive line as a whole. I think Pat was more concerned about the left side, and Martin didn't see eye to eye with that. So he was talking about how, it's going to be an issue for the Georgia game.
Well, I mean, again, I don't think that's doom and gloom. I think that's just anybody that has knowledge of the game of football to say, look, man, like our offensive line has not been very consistent. Not just even in the in pass pro, but our running game has not been great by any means, right? I mean, granted, I know our starting running back's been out, but if you really just watch the tape, I mean, there hasn't been great execution by the guys up front. That's a fact, right? And I mean, even Proctor acknowledged that. Now, again, there's other factors. There's been injuries, right? Right guard, your guard has been out. You've been rotating there. Your right tackle going into the year has been inconsistent. You're rotating with a true freshman. So I understand all that, and I take that into consideration. But again, I always urge people, though, just because someone has a take on something that might not be what you want to hear, it's not doom and gloom. I mean, doom and gloom to me would be like how my dad used to, again, he'd be messing around, but stirring the pot. And he would basically just say, like, oh, like, this stinks, or this, like, that's more doom and gloom. Like, but somebody just saying, like, they have concerns with the group that has not been up to par, that's factual. You know what I mean? And I agree that the offensive line, and again, I just worded it different. The way I said it was, they're going to be a key in this game. And maybe that's why it doesn't come off like that. So maybe it's just, I guess, the presentation of it. But at the end of the day, that's just a fact. I mean, the offensive line could be a determining factor in this game, right? Because they're the ones responsible for helping us get that running game going that we know is going to be important. And they're the guys that's going to be responsible for keeping Ty clean. I mean, let me just ask you guys this. I mean, to me, I feel like it's common sense. Look at the receiver play through 3 games. Been really good. Obviously, outside of Ryan Williams struggling week 1. Everybody else, really good. I mean, even like the backs filling in for Jam. I mean, I always say Kevin Riley has been a surprise. He's played good ball. I mean, Richard Young's done some decent things as well. I wouldn't say like that spot has been like elite by any means, but nothing has really been like glaring where it's like, oh, our backs have just been awful. No. And then you look at Ty's play. He's been phenomenal, arguably the best quarterback in the country. So who's left? I mean, you got the tight end group, which they need to be better as well, but I'm going to lump them in there because, they're not an issue in the passing game. It's them when they're involved in the running game. Right? They just have been inconsistent. But you also have a true freshman filling in there. Danny Lewis is hurt, right? And you got Cuevas, but you've had what's his name? The kid from California, true freshman. He's filling in and he's shown some promise, but he's also shown some freshman moments, which is expected. That being said, the common denominator here for a lot of the struggles that we've seen offensively all point back to the offensive line. That's literally just a fact. We already checked the receivers, backs. I mean, it's not like a big check, but it's enough. And quarterback play, check. Offensive line is really what's left. So, and we all know at the end of the day, football, everything starts up front. So I didn't hear the show. I'll be honest with all due respect. I really just do our show. I don't hear any of the other shows hardly ever. So I don't know what's going on unless you guys tell me, but I don't have a problem with saying the offensive line needs to show up in this game because I 100% agree. All right, that being said, Slade got tied up today, so we'll try to just move him to another day, but we will anticipate getting Roman Harper on here this week, and then we're going to move Slade as well. Then I'll let you guys know if we get any other ones, but right now we got those 2 lined up, and hopefully we get my dad out of the pulpit or wherever he's at, maybe at church or whatever. But who knows? Maybe we'll get him on here and get his take at some point as well. But first, we got to take a time out. We come back. We wrap things up here a little bit from Ryan Grubb, and we wrap up our Talking Tuesday edition of the Miller's Edge right here at Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
Coming up on the.
No disrespect to you, Christian. You always bring the best perspective. Oh, thank you. Oh, no, I didn't think, no, I didn't think there was any disrespect at all. No, I was just saying, I didn't know, like, what happened. I just know Pat had mentioned what they were talking about. I didn't know if there was, like, a guest or if it was, I didn't, with all due respect, I just being completely honest, I don't listen to the other shows. I mean, I have a lot of other stuff I'm doing. Like, I just generally, I come on here and we do my show, and I don't get to listen to any other show. So I generally don't know. That's why when some people call and they're like, "Oh, what'd you think about this?" And I'm like, I have not heard anything today other than, I'm being honest with you. I mean, like, sometimes I'm working out, I'll have like ESPN or something like that, but that's really it. I don't listen to any other shows but doing mine. Respectfully, it seems Kane Walmart might have used one of those Chat GPT resume. Come on, y'all are still going in on that. Just keeping it real. Dang. I mean, I'll be honest. There's been some good, but it is what it is. I mean, I think they've shown some good. I mean, there's definitely some things that I probably would do different for sure. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. They've been playing better last 2 weeks. Look, if they continue their defensive performances like that we've seen last 2 weeks, I mean, I'll definitely tip my hat. But I'll be honest with you. Do I expect that? No, I think we're definitely going to run into some issues again. I think this is natural. Also, thoughts on LSU linebacker dating Lane Kiffin's daughter? Oh, boy. Uh-oh, Jake. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. It's kind of, aren't they playing each other this week too? I'll be honest. I don't really have any thoughts on that like that, man. I just, like, what is that? I guess the power of social media. I mean, because I think she goes to Ole Miss where her dad's at. I guess that's where she met him. But him as a football player, he's a damn good football player. If it's like the main weeks, I mean, I know there's like 3 of the weeks, brother. So I don't know which week she's dating. But if it's the Witt guy, he's definitely a really good football player. What's funny is I genuinely have. I know y'all asked about my dad. I genuinely have not heard from him, so I don't know when he's hopping on here. He'll probably end up hopping on tomorrow or something, or when Roman hops on. Like anytime we have a guest, he just magically pops up. I don't know if we have time to get to Grubbs thing. Let me see if we can just play like part of it. How long was it? Starts at 18:30. Oh, damn. He was 4 minutes. Oh, we got time. He said he ain't trying to talk. He's trying to. Oh, wait. We got another call. Damn. Damn, Chase. We had perfect amount of time to get this interview, but we got Ragged on there. I don't want to leave him hanging, man. Damn, but we need to get this interview out the way. Chase, we might have to tell Ragged if he wants to hang on. Because this interview is really 4 minutes. I really want to get it since we didn't get it yesterday. Yeah, if you want to tell Ragged, he can hang for what?
front here with Jamie.
Hey, Coach, how important is it to get the run game up to speed as the degree of difficulty only gets tougher when the schedule to open SEC play?
Yeah, always good to get the run game going. Certainly alleviates a lot of the pressure off of Ty and gets us, you get some closed coverage looks, get our receivers out on the outside one-on-one. So definitely important.
Let's go to the left side of Colin.
What's kind of your message to Ty? Another game on the road, big kind of major atmosphere kind of to face. Like as he heads into the SEC play, what's kind of your message to him?
Yeah, just remember what has made him successful the last 2 weeks, and that's just been, built from the ground up, great feet, discipline in his decision making. I think that's the biggest part for him.
Let's go to Nick on the front right.
Yeah, give us the scouting report on Georgia's defense, what you see, what stands out.
Yeah, obviously Coach Kirby has done a great job, getting that defense set over a number of years. And they're super, multiple in what they do. They can get to about any coverage scheme they need to. Their pressure package is very advanced on third down, so have to be ready for that. I think their guys run to the football. They play hard in between the whistle, the physical up front, and they'll be a good test.
Go all the way back left. Trey Young.
Ty Simpson has played with some infectious confidence that's showed throughout this play. How does the offense take that confidence going onto the road and start fast and play up to the standard?
I think early execution is always the key. When Ty starts fast and the guys can feel that he's making great decisions, and we got command in the huddle and at the line of scrimmage, I think that they all feed off of each other. And when they feel that sense of control early in the football game, I think everybody is feeling a lot more confident.
Got time for a couple more questions for Coach Groh. Let's start back right here, Kenny.
When you look at your offense as a whole, what growth have you seen, or what data points can you lean on over the last couple of weeks that gives you confidence that this group will pass the test on Saturday?
Yeah, good question. I think for the guys, again, I hate to keep falling back on boring answers, but honestly, it just comes down to execution. Unfortunately, week one, that was something that we weren't doing a great job of. And I think the last 2 weeks, regardless of opponent, it's been our execution that has allowed us to stay on the field and be efficient.
All right. Back right, Mike.
Just how close are you to settling on a starting five for the O-line, or is that something where you want to keep rotating some guys through a right guard, right tackle?
We'll keep rotating. There's a lot of guys, both not just for experience and depth, but also, keeping guys fresh and keeping them in a position where they can, play hard for 80 snaps a game.
All right, let's finish up with Katie on the left side here.
You talked about how the run game can alleviate the pressure on Ty. Just if James able to go, how much does that open up what you're able to do offensively?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything we were limited when Jam was out, but certainly just his leadership and physical presence on the run game, just being able to lean on him a little bit is super helpful.
So that was offense coordinator Ryan Grubb. Real quick, brief, and to the point. I know Dr. Crystal said he seemed annoyed. He definitely probably just kind of just over the whole talking thing and just kind of wanting to get to work. So I'm not mad at it, man. I'm not mad at it. But everything he said is pretty much what we've been touching on, right? He talked about the running game, needing it to alleviate that pressure off of Ty, right? You got the answer about the O-line. Still will be a little bit of rotation in there. So expect that. Makes sense. Wish we could get a very established group and just roll, but it is what it is. And then what was the last thing I was going to hit on that he mentioned? I'm drawing a blank. He's trying to rush to get up out of here. But, them talking about Georgia, right, in their defense. Basically what I was saying in terms of blitz packages, third down, they're going to throw a whole bunch at you. I mentioned that earlier, so best believe you're going to see it, just like he's already been seeing it on tape, and he knows he's going to get it. And then in terms of all their coverages, man, we talked about Coach Saban / Kirby system, right, how extensive it is, the depth to it. Just like he acknowledged that, man. They can pretty much do anything and everything. So as an offensive coordinator, you got to be prepared for that. So big challenge for Ryan Grubb this weekend. We got to get out of here. Appreciate everybody, all the contributions, all our listeners, Tide 100.9 on YouTube at The Miller's Edge, Facebook, Tide 100.9 as well. Chase Behind the Glass, and all you guys that support us here on The Miller's Edge. Big thanks, and we will see you guys right here tomorrow, Tide 100.9, 12:30, WTBC.